All right. So before GamerGate, you also have there was an incident. You alluded to this a little bit in the first part of the interview. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Xiaxue, she's a Singaporean influencer,
Yes,
wrote a blog post. She says that you insulted her about her
I
nose
did do
job.
that. Yes, that's for sure. And no, it wasn't about her nose job. It was about her marketing plastic surgery to kids. But whatever.
What do you have evidence that she did that?
I mean, look at her blog. Like her audience was mainly like 12-year-old kids, and like she was marketing herself as with her plastic surgery journey. I mean, it's marketing plastic surgery to kids.
I'll have to verify that for the book.
Yeah, I think. I mean, that's my perspective on it. It's I still stand by that, but I mean, you're welcome to make up your own mind on that.
And then in this blog post of hers where she criticizes you, she points out that Kimi Kobayashi, someone who you said at the time that you were
Mm-hmm.
dating and who you had a lot of social media interactions with, that
Mm-hmm.
this person was actually a fake account, that this
Yes.
was this was not a real person. Or well, it was a
Well,
real person running the account, I guess suppose. But she thinks it was you.
well, well, yeah. She thinks it was me, and it wasn't me, and it's unfortunately my word against hers. So it sucked a lot because on one end I was getting catfished. This was, I think, before the word catfish was super popular. Yeah, there was a documentary that came out, I think, in 2010, and there was a series on MTV that came out in the ensuing years that kind of popularized the word. But I I kind of had like a lot invested in that, like as you might expect, and it turned out not to be real. And it turned out the way that it was brought brought upon me, that it turned out to be real, was also uh, my life being destroyed in the public. It was a lot of fun.
So you have no well, you supposedly dated this Kim Kobayashi person for months.
Dated, I think, is, I mean, if you consider, kind of having a long distance internet relationship dating, then yes.
But you never once at any point during this time period did live streams with her, video call, anything like this,
No,
phone
no, I
call
did
even.
not. I did audio calls. I never did video calls, and that was a something that I should have seen as a red flag at the time. But you live and you learn. Um, I did not do any video calls with this person. I did not do any content outside of just replying back and forth and making edgy jokes on Twitter with this person. Um, I don't know who
Well,
they
you did
are.
refer to yourselves as the power couple of Twitter.
Yes, it was clearly a joke, though. Like when you say that you're a power couple, it's not. At least I hope that you're not being serious.
And at
Um,
various points, this account did comment on your videos, telling someone to get a real girlfriend in one case. A little bit
yeah.
ironic.
Yes. Yeah. I know. I don't even remember that personally, but I do remember people. There were a lot of people who claimed that I said that I had actually physically been around this person, and I never claimed that.
So you also allegedly used other sock puppet accounts, according to Encyclopedia Dramatica, to
Very
ask
reliable
people
source of
ask.
information.
Well, they also source other things too. Um, they actually source Ethan Ralph, who I don't view as a reliable source necessarily, but
Yeah, I would
they
agree.
claim yes. But according to Encyclopedia Dramatica and Ethan Ralph, that you use sock puppet accounts to ask people for money as well, in a separate incident.
Uh, I never have done that. I don't know how. I don't know how you can prove I've never done that. I don't think that I can prove that I've never done that. But I've never been. The one time that I did a successful crowdfunding thing was when we crowdfunded for when I was married. We crowdfunded for my wife's jaw surgery, my ex-wife's jaw surgery. She had a serious issue with her jaw that caused ongoing pain, and we raised money for that. That's the only time I've ever, I would say, successfully raised large sums of money. I did have a Patreon for my content that did all right for a while, and it's kind of fallen off now. It makes $300 a month. It's not super good, but
Why would this
again, I've never. Go ahead. Sorry.
why would this account, this Kim Kobayashi account, this person that you say is a catfish, why would they have such an interest in building this fake relationship with you?
That's a good question. Um, Either they thought I was interesting or they thought I was an easy mark. One of the two, or maybe both. I really don't know.
Did they ever ask you for money or any sort of incentive like that?
No, never. No, I was never asked for money from that person, which, was part of, I think, the rationale to keep talking to that person. There was never any ask for anything. So it was like, well, you're not trying to scam me, you know?
At various points, this account, this Kim Kobayashi account, has made a lot of racist remarks about not racist, but like weird remarks about Asian people, and keep referring to
Yeah.
themselves as being an Asian, and they make a really big deal out of this.
Yeah. And looking back, like I don't know if I probably don't believe that that was an Asian person. Like it's in the realm of speculation that I can't really. I have to imagine that their actual intent wasn't necessarily to, you know, represent Asians well. But like I have some Jewish background. I'm not actually Jewish. My family isn't even culturally Jewish, but if you go back, you can find Polish Jew in the blood pool, and I like making jokes about that. And this person acted the same way about Asian people, and I thought, oh, this is somebody who does the same thing I do, and that is kind of how that stuff happened. I think that there are appropriate ways to make jokes about like yourself or your identity or your background. I don't think that all of the ways that myself and that person were doing that were appropriate. And I definitely would do that a different way if I were in a relationship like that and making those types of jokes. But, there's a lot of people who they think that it was me making a bunch of Asian jokes, and therefore the contextual, assessment of those jokes is, I think, also very different. I do think it probably was a white person making those jokes. It was not me. It seems like the person was sort of, using it as a way to I make a lot of easy jokes, I guess. Like it's easy humor to do something that's like based on stereotypes and stuff like that. So I kind of think of it that way looking back, and also just, not really having the cultural and emotional intelligence of, time. Like I think I'm gonna turn 40 this year, and I think that, having done a lot of content and done a lot of humor and done a lot of more serious work, I've taken in a lot of, experience. Like when you're a small town idiot, and I am that, um, you you think that things are funny for a very specific reason. It's not necessarily like I think that people are bad or I think that this group is lesser. It's that stereotype equals funny. If I repeat stereotype in a way that I think sounds sarcastic or mean, that means I am somehow maybe even like somewhere between criticizing and just like doing a pastiche of something. I don't know. I nowadays
Well,
I look back on it and I say to myself, I have very different sensibilities now. I wouldn't do these types of things. I mean, it's not like I would never joke about being partially Jewish. I certainly would do that. But I would do it in a different way than I was then, for sure.
well, Peter, I'm a little bit skeptical here because you supposedly dated this person for months on the internet.
Sure.
You made a big deal out of this. You interacted publicly tons of times. You say that there
Mm-hmm.
were phone calls or voice conversations at least. But
Yeah.
you have no, and this of course was a big story. Your reputation did take a hit for this. And at no point you say it's a he said she said, like you don't have anything that you could show. Like presumably there'd be months and months and months of DMs between you and this fake account, right?
It's 2024, man. I have none
But
of that.
this story broke over a decade ago. You could have provided that at the time, yes?
I probably could have, but I didn't. I mean, I also kind of looked at it as a kind of like an issue of principle as well. I don't know if I really like in my head it wasn't just like these people are coming after me for a thing. It's this is clearly like a perspective on a set of evidence that is being sold by people who have larger platforms than me. And I was pretty indignant about it. And I don't think that that was the right approach. But, if I had any of that kind of stuff now, I would certainly
Well,
post it.
you have in the past confirmed DMs that were leaked, though. Why not do so in this case? The con leaks, you confirmed those were real,
What
correct?
DMs? What do you have? Like, do you have any? I could.
The con leaks, right? The crash override network chat lock on Skype.
Yeah, but I don't understand how I could confirm leaks from this person.
Well, you could leak your own DMs from it, right? Presumably, and show that, hey, look, here's thousands of messages, or hundreds, or dozens, or whatever it is, between me and Kim Kobayashi, or the person pretending to be this person,
From where?
from
That's
wherever
like
you
my.
communicated, right? Where did you communicate?
I don't have any of that. Like, I genuinely like it's.
Well, not now,
I
but contemporaneously, I mean.
Oh, sure. Then absolutely, I could have, and I should have. Um, the best I can say to you is, it was a very stupid way of going about it. I really handled that in a bad way. In every possible, like if you look at how I interacted with people, I was constantly replying to people and trying to argue around it and deal with it, and it's just like it's not how people should act. Like what I've learned is that an internet argument between me and one other person means absolutely nothing. I could convince that person, and that person will not, like, it doesn't matter because that's one person. That's one person out there in the world, and I have to now do that millions of more times in order for it to actually matter, and that's not possible. So I think what that ended up being was just a lot of unhealthy bullshit. Sorry, pardon my French. Um, I don't know. I look back on that time as a very kind of almost addicted way of acting. I see that as being very, very, very online and having like very rigid principles that I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. Like these people want me to apologize. I'm not even going to do that, et cetera, et cetera. Um, I don't know. I felt like it was. I mean, the internet wasn't. It wasn't what it is today either. I didn't have the kind of experience with the internet that I do today. I didn't have, a decade of how people act when they don't believe you when you're saying something on the internet. I didn't have that experience. For the most part, my previous experience on the internet was just, you post stuff and people either think it's funny or don't like it. And from that point forward, my internet experience was very different. And again, I would kind of characterize it as unhealthy behavior. I don't look back on my actions during that time period fondly. I don't look back at them as intelligent or the right way to have gone about it. And if it happened now, I wouldn't have all of that experience then. But if I had the understanding that I have now, I would just leak everything. And I would also, beyond that, probably not fight with people about it, because all that does is create a constant expectation, not even just for other people, but for your own brain, to continually engage with something that is very stimulating, and it makes your brain constantly expect that. And I don't know if it gives you a dopamine hit. I hesitate to say that, because it did bring me to very low places, but it does do something with your I think incentive reward, those areas of your brain, because there is some kind of like a bit of a perverse reward in people arguing with you and you standing up for what you believe in. And even though it really doesn't matter and you aren't changing anybody's mind, in a lot of cases you're making yourself look foolish. This is why I think in a lot of ways I was set up to kind of fail during the GamerGate era, because I had been conditioned for a couple of years in that way. We talked about how I was actually introduced to GamerGate, the previous interview segment, and it was, if you recall, I talked about how somebody brought me that information, and I reacted in a way that sort of based my perception and my actions on the previous several years. And I think, personally anyways, I think that I was very conditioned to end up on a side in a certain way, because I had a very, very rigid sense of how I should handle this, what I should what's the right word? Not resist, but like push back. I'm not coming up with the right word. But I do think I was spending a very large amount of time kind of feeling a perverse validation over these fights, even if it wasn't necessarily good for me or making me feel good. There are people who get addicted to things, much worse things than internet drama, of course.
Well, before we jump into the GamerGate stuff, there's still a lot more questions I have. Some of them
Sure,
are
yeah,
related to this situation still. So, this person, this Kim Kobayashi person that's fake, her pictures are actually of a real person, Lee Na
yeah,
Young, who is a Japanese celebrity.
sure,
I'm sorry, a South Korean celebrity. My mistake.
yeah.
But but the
I'm not
person
actually.
pretending to be Kobayashi claimed that they were Japanese, but it was actually
Yeah,
photos of a Korean person.
sure, yes.
Do you have anything you want to say to that person, or do you?
Well, I feel bad that that person was involved in any way. I never said anything to that person, nor have I been reached out to by that person.
I've
So I
reached out to
don't
her.
know. Oh, did
She
she say anything?
no, not yet at least.
Well, I would be very interested in what she had to say. I would say that I regret that she had to be involved in something. She had absolutely no control over that. She had absolutely no input over it. That's generally not a good thing. I don't have a lot to say other than that. I do think that it's regrettable that a person who just had nothing to do with anything was dragged into it.
What sort of messages did you send to Jiju?
Oh, I don't know. I can't answer that.
All right. Okay.
I mean, I that's not even something I think about. I just have no idea.
And you mentioned on her blog. I'm going through it a little bit. I've not read every blog post. She's a prolific blogger. What's the best evidence you have specifically on her blog that Jiju promoted children to get plastic surgery?
Well, again, it's marketing demographics. It's who's reading her blog and what she's pushing. It's lifestyle marketing. There's a lot of
So you think that
plastic surgery journey.
well, is that illegitimate for her to talk about her plastic surgery experience?
Oh no, I don't think that that's wrong. I think that you can talk about it, but I also think that there's a way to talk about it that's like not her being sponsored by plastic surgery companies, and not her
Is she?
being. There were plenty of posts that were, yes.
Which ones?
Oh, I have no idea. I can't. We're talking about blog posts from 2010, I think.
Well, you knew
So,
this was going to come up days in advance, though. I messaged you.
yeah, and if I'm completely honest, don't give a flying fuck about any of that shit.
Okay.